Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Podcast. My name is Gary Buechler. I am live in San Francisco, California, coming to you from nerdrotic.com. And as always, for Mr. Robot anyway, I'm with my co-host, Dennis Bithoulkas in San Diego. What's up, Dennis?
Hello, friends.
Hello, friends. Are you still with us? Wow. That was a crazy episode, man. I mean, they really built it up, and I was like, man, I don't know. My expectations can get really high for stuff. Totally delivered. Quick story, though. The most messed up thing is, like, I was into this episode. I was locked in. And right up to the point to the very end, which we will get to later, my son walks in and interrupts me. And it's like after just gripping for 45 minutes after this whole uncut episode. And I didn't catch what anything he said. I'm like, yeah, family life. Good thing I love him. But wow,
you're supposed to grab him by the head and push him away from the screen.
Get away from me, kid! You're bothering me. Oh, dude, I was like, damn. But I guess that alarm noise was really annoying everybody in my house, and I was just like jamming the TV. I didn't care.
I was about halfway through the episode because I had the TV cranked and I have the window, the sliding glass door open, and I was like, halfway through the episode, I'm like, that alarm's been going on the entire episode. And I got the window wide open.
You did. I know. And the thing was, it wasn't annoying. I was just gripping through this whole thing. Yeah. So, we will. At first when I saw this, Dennis, I'm like, man, there's not a lot of the ins and outs. We're going to get into our theories. But now that I've reviewed it with you a little bit, looked over my notes, there was definitely a lot of stuff that happened.
Oh, yeah.
And we could talk about just the whole uncut scene. It was 47 minutes. I mean, they did cut. Okay. They cut. Trick ways they cut, but it was seamless and so well done. And it could have been annoying and it wasn't. So yeah, bravo, USA Network, for actually coming through on what you said you were going to do. That was groundbreaking. It was amazing. It was really amazing.
Missed the first minute of the show because of DirecTV Now. That was the only thing. I came in the elevator when the Swedish guys were talking to him in the elevator there.
I see. Oh, it was Swedish. Okay, I didn't even know that. I was gonna, I was gonna translate that before we started. So somebody's gonna have to throw that in the comment. Swedish or German? Yeah. But I'll throw in the comment what it is later or in our description. But I don't know. I'm sure it was important, or they wouldn't have said anything. But just the whole music and the build up to that scene, and the information we got just early on from Elliot. For one, I'm sure you noticed the crackling sound that was going on. Yeah. And this episode's title is Runtime Error, and it really pushes forward the whole multiple realities, string theory, for lack of a better word, that we're using here.
Yeah.
And, it starts out with Elliot, talking to us and, saying that he, what did you bring? He said he created Mr. Robot and he created us.
He says, this is why I created Mr. Robot and this is why I created you. So I have someone to talk to about this. And this is when he's freaking out. In the elevator. And he's about to get caught. Yeah.
So stage 2. So they the Dark Army has already attempted stage 2, and Elliot's failsafe or whatever worked, but they're going to try it again. And
they dismantled it. They were dismantling it as he was getting ready to get tossed out the building.
Well, yeah, but prior to him, being in the elevator, he's aware that Angela's like turned on him at this point, and he's got to get in there and stop this. And he wasn't even aware at first that he was fired. He tries to do his password. So that whole scene of him trying to evade the security was really cool, especially the awkward meeting room scene. That was cool.
I love when he's trying to pick a victim, if you will, to take over their kiosk, and he goes, "She's the one I'm going to go for, and she knows everything." And she's like, "That's impossible. I've got this, and I'm running. But I know who your problem is. This guy over here."
Yeah, yep. Every office has one of those, don't they?
Yeah.
Oh man, and yeah, he was a Bernie bro. That was funny.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. So Elliot's doing this while he's talking to us. We're getting this crackling noise, and you know, I'm just convinced at this point. I don't even want to bury the lead that it's just a matter of when they're going to show us just exactly like, are we in like the string theory alternate realities? Is reality just changing? Is somebody outside of reality changing things? They kind of referred to that with White Rose a little later on the episode when Angela was talking to Irving.
She can make everything better.
She can make everything better. And what did he say? Remember the cause.
Yep.
But so when Elliot is and then basically when he was talking to, what was his name again? Samar. That was messed up too. Where Samar like opens up to him and he's all, is this a happy accident?
That whole thing, yeah, where Samar just keeps talking about how many times he's getting laid and everything, and he just rails off on him. He goes, every Monday morning it's the same thing where you are just, going into graphic detail about sexual exploits. So it's one of two things. Either you're very insecure or, I forget what the other one was, something about your need to brag about things. And he goes, I really don't give a shit. And he goes, oh shit, that was meant for you.
Yeah.
What did I do this weekend?
Oh, we've all had those though, haven't we? Maybe just me. So Elliot's getting confused, and it's obviously from being drugged and knocked out, and we still don't know what he did. So I can see them actually doing an episode maybe next week in the future, kind of filling in a little more time. We still have some Tyrell time to fill in. We have some Mr. Robot time. Some Angela hasn't been in this a lot. This was probably the episode she's been in the most this season.
Yeah, that whole thing where Irving calls her and basically says, okay, you need to get Elliot to do this. We got a package for you sitting near your office. Our guys are, leading a distraction. You need to bring Elliot into the room, into the server room, and he needs to do this, this, and this. And Angela is the one that actually goes through and does all this stuff because she knows just as much as Elliot does.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Well, and we'll get a little more into that, but I want to take it back to the kind of the beginning of the episode where when Elliot is he's just trying to find a way to stop this, undo it, and he summons a Mr. Robot, not the Mr. Robot, but a Mr. Robot. I thought that was kind of a big deal because he's starting to summon personas at will now.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I know not in the literal sense he's a robot, but I got the vibe way more than any normal episode. And let me preface that by saying that I still think Elliot's just a broken man, who's detached from reality. Obviously, they've showed us that, but I really started getting a vibe that I don't know if he is real. I mean, hell, I don't know what is real in this show, and that's one of the best parts about it. But you could still fall back saying Elliot's a person, but he's starting to feel more like an actual program, and he was running like that this time, especially with him getting confused. Again, that could be the drugs, but I may or may not have experimented with a few things. I've never been that totally confused with what who I was talking to. Well, maybe close, but I don't know. I just started getting that vibe a little bit that there's. I don't know. I don't want to dive into the this is just all a big computer program, but I started getting that vibe a little bit of what this reality is. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. All theories.
I was getting more along the lines of, okay, sure, he is calling up a Mr. Robot, a version of it, if you will. But I think what it is, it's showing that this crossing over between worlds with Mr. Robot taking over is taking its toll on his mind, and he's actually breaking from that more than anything else. And we're starting to see with Angela as well a bit. We're seeing her starting to break, even though she's quote unquote doing this stuff for the cause. You can tell she's really having misgivings about doing it. and I think it's going to break her at some point.
Well, I mean, they're both emotional. It's both based on emotions. I mean, she's doing all this for her mom, so obviously, well, I don't want to get too far ahead, but with Elliot, we've seen, okay, so the loneliness started kicking in a couple episodes ago, and we both had the theory that, you know, maybe because it's a possibility that he is alone, or this is, I think we're beyond, like, this is psychotic episodes, like, you know, which it could be. At the end, it still could be, and it would still be a pretty good story with just him having a lot of psychiatric problems. I think it's way beyond that now. I think he's kind of like I don't know if he's like a hub or something, you know, and maybe that's what they have to access this world. And I know I'm going way down the rabbit hole on this one, but and maybe he's breaking down. Or maybe they just went too far in you know, drugging him, like mess this up. It seems like not everything is going to the Dark Army's plan, and it is Elliot messing it up left and right. And that's one of the coolest thing about the show, that your protagonist is the antagonist as well. It's very cool.
Yeah.
First time it's been done, but it's really cool how they've done it this time.
And we also get you know, Darlene's in this a little bit as well.
Yep.
And this is after Elliot gets thrown out of the building, and Darlene is outside in the crowd. She finds him and says, you know, oh yeah, by the way, I'm working with the FBI.
Yeah, drops that one on you.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, and she's and she's probably doing it. We find out that she got a deal for herself and Elliot, for both of them. So I mean, that's you know, because that's forgivable. That is absolutely forgivable, especially when she was walked in and shown that, like, they were just waiting out the whole time. What we know since then, though, that is the FBI is working. Well, one person from the FBI is working with the Dark Army. So while we have, you know, the one agent working, you know, with Angela, she's going to get sidetracked every time. Dom.
And her boss is working with the Dark Army. And supposedly, you know, the FBI is building a case around Welling.
Tyrell. Yeah. They just want to go after Tyrell, which is, you know, that's why they picked him, and that's why the Dark Army picked him, and they're going to throw him under the bus. But I mean, if you play it all the way through, they're going to want to get rid of everybody. And I mean, you got to wisen up to that. So you have to find out a way. And that's where, you know, at some point, Sam even said it in the post show today, which I did watch a little bit of, that like they're going to reveal all this. They're going to, and it's going to be soon. And he also said he didn't want to be gimmicky. So he is really foreshadowing. And he said, and I don't know if I'm repeating myself, I can't remember if we said this in the pre-production meeting or not, that he said some Redditors got it right. Like, they've got the theory right. So it's kind of confirmed. So whatever Reddit theory that is, and I haven't honestly been on Reddit for this show because I like to come up with our own natural theories, as crazy or wrong as they may be. They're ours. But that was interesting. Actually, that was the first time I even saw the post show, which was pretty good for a post show.
And throughout this entire episode, we have the TVs running in the background, both in the elevator and on, you know, on the computer desk and things like that. That China is trying to annex the People's Republic of the Congo.
So, the UN vote is coming down.
Yeah, the UN vote is coming down, and we see by the end that yes, they have, you know, voted for it, because of course we already know it's already set up.
Well, and that was a really cool. We were kind of bitching about that with our Gifted recap. Like, they really need to do a little more world building, and you know, and a lot of people use news in a very bad way to carry information through. Like, a lot of times you'll see a TV and a TV, and I can buy a little monitor in the elevator. I mean, it's a little rough, but I can buy it. I can't buy one like on a hot dog stand on a beach and somebody's watching CNN on a hot dog stand on a beach, X-Men. But no, it's really important to do that. And this was done so, especially with like just the whole, oh man,
the chaos, the rioting going on.
When we get to that, like when Elliot was talking to Darlene, I was thinking about my own family members. I'm like, okay, I've got two sisters. How many? You got one sister, right?
I've got two.
Would she turn you into the FBI?
two sisters.
You have two. Would either of them turn you in to the FBI?
Maybe. I don't know.
I got one who definitely would, and I got one who would help me hide the body. That's the only thing I was thinking of. I was like, damn, that's messed up. But at least she came out and told him. And they, Elliot needs to get back in the building, and he needs a distraction. So there's a bunch of protesters. They've been outside, and they've actually grown this time. And they do this awesome thing where they're talking to Elliot, and he's like, I got to find a way to get back in the building. And they kind of swing through the crowd, and then they hit the news anchor. Yeah. And then you're in the news anchor's camera. That was awesome. I was like, damn, that was good. And then you follow somebody through. You don't know who it is, and they have a tear gas, and they flop one of the cops' heads, and it starts everybody coming in, and that's when we start following all the kids with their all the F Society kids through the building, and they're spray painting and stuff. And that's when we get to Angela, like about halfway through the episode.
Yeah.
And that's when she has the phone conversation with Irving, which was very telling. For one, he referred to her, not him.
Mm-hmm.
And
he always refers to her. He never refers to him.
I think he's just you can't look into that. I think that's just him being respectful. Whether it's he's being a him or a her under there, when I think he just looks at it when maybe he knows Zhang and the White Rose, and he's, like I said, I think he's just being respectful. You could look, I mean, there's multiple ways you could look at that, but or they could be two different people.
I think they're two different people that share the same body, like I said, because I mean,
well, that's what it looks like now.
Yeah.
On the surface. Yeah. So that could change. And they've kept everything murky enough to where we could at least suspect that. And that's the fun part about this show. I mean, everything, like I said before, everything could be face value on the show, and I'd still be very entertained. I just don't think it is. And well, the creator of the show came out and said that. And that's the advantage. Like, he's directing every episode this season, mm-hmm. And this reminds me, and I was talking to my wife about it, season 1 of True Detective, which is really, really good, was, I can't remember his name, but it was directed by the same director. And I think there's some, that's where you get the cinema, that's where the seamlessness comes in, and you get like this. That's why this show's a little bit a cut above, and that's why True Detective season 1 was a cut above. It just felt like a big long movie. And if you haven't seen True Detective, watch season 1. It's totally worth it. It was a great show. Too bad season 2 sucked, but yeah. So and having him in full control, like
Carrie Fukunaga.
Yeah.
I can never.
He's from Oakland. He's from Oaktown, right across the bay. He was amazing, and he was the reason season 2 sucked. The writer and him got in a fight, and he wouldn't come back for the second season, which I would think made all the difference in the world. Plus, they recast the show. But the seamlessness of the show, not just within the episode, but within the season. And I've gone back today, the last couple of days, because I've been under the weather. I've gone back and rewatched this season. Highly recommend you do that if you can, because you actually catch a lot. But and it's nothing that's changed my theories so far. Actually, didn't we have a commenter say something about last week's episode that we missed?
Yes, we had a commenter say basically something that I saw, but I didn't read it, what it was. Darlene was downloading something while she was kind of waiting, and she was downloading a movie, and it was Shazam with Sinbad, which is part of the Mandela effect. The Mandela effect is a
Mandela. Yes, Nelson Mandela. Yeah.
Yeah. That basically Mandela died in prison. Everyone thinks they remember this, yet we all know that he got released from prison, South African prison, so on and so forth. But there's a large group of people that say, hey, they remember him dying in prison, news reports of him dying in prison. Same thing, like people remember this movie called Shazam that starred Sinbad, when actually there was a movie called Kazam that starred Shaq. You know,
and there's the Berenstein Bears,
mm-hmm.
who everybody remembers as the Bernstein Bears. So that one's in there too. Yeah, this is like Art Bell territory here. They've actually discussed this Art Bell. There's an entire show. There's actually multiple entire shows dedicated to the Mandela effect, which are very interesting if you want to find them on YouTube. And yeah, I even had a personal one within this show.
Yeah,
with,
he did.
With Wallace Shawn, who's Mr. Inconceivable from The Princess Bride. I could have sworn dead that guy died in 2016. I could have sworn I heard it. I was like, oh man, the Inconceivable guy died. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe it's the Wallace Shawn effect now. I have no idea. But he ends up showing up in the show, which is crazy. But I definitely, yeah. Who was the commenter again? Very
Carlos. I don't have it up, unfortunately.
Oh, thanks for writing it out. Okay, don't look it up right now. We'll mention it later. Thank you for commenting. We do appreciate your comments. We do read your comments, and that was cool. And I definitely think that's what's going on here. And yeah, like I said before, it's string theory. I don't know if it's like I said, somebody outside of this, and
I think it's ever changing.
Or yeah, it's definitely ever changing. And they have they have some control over it, but not much. And and Elliot's the key.
Did you notice even in this episode on the TV, they were talking about Obama being president, and then they switched over later on saying Trump was president.
Well, that is interesting because that is, you know what? Whoa, my mind you just blew my mind, Dennis. You just blew my mind, because in the after show, Sam, how do you spell it? S-mail? I always want to say Sam's email. I'm just going to say that because that's what it looks like, Sam's email. He said that this show takes place in 2015. It clearly takes place in 2015 because they've said that multiple times. It takes place in 2015. But it couldn't take place in 2015 because the election was last year. So that's interesting. Yeah, unless, well, okay, so no, I think Trump is just running for president right now.
Well,
no, because remember, because Zhang said that we're going to get behind the Trump guy to the Alex Jones Frank guy.
Yeah, because that's who was talking about Trump being president.
No, I think he was talking about like that's why we need Trump as a president.
Okay, maybe I misheard.
Saying that in the context of the show.
Okay.
Somebody. Yeah, but no, that would have been crazy. No, but it definitely takes place in 2015.
Okay.
Sorry, we had to work that one out there, but it's a crazy show.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff getting thrown at me at the time, and I'm writing down notes too. So you got to remember, I'm writing down notes and then trying to watch at the same time. So
well, and I would have thought that if I hadn't seen the after show, and this is also live YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. So this is how it goes. Now, yeah, the thing is, Trump's gonna, I guess, become president, or maybe they're gonna change that. That's it. But he's got the backing of the Dark Army in this world, so that's pretty good backing. And they just annexed an entire country, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, like, as crazy as this stuff is, I buy every bit of it. I mean, that's how intelligent. I'm sure there's economic professors out there who can, tear apart the economics of the show, and there's, scientists out there. But just as a regular Joe viewer, I buy this stuff. It seems real enough for me.
Yeah, it seems plausible. It definitely seems plausible. And I don't know if you noticed that once the UN votes on the Congo that China can annex it, it says at the bottom, it says, is this a new wave of colonization?
Yeah.
And I started thinking about it. I'm like, wait a minute. Because we started the season 1 at the end where Ecor, has this big, supposedly this is their big master plan, also with the Dark Army as well. And I'm like, or colonialism, excuse me, is this the start of a new era of colonialism?
Yeah, I got that. So is this like Is E Corp like the new East India Company? You know?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm thinking, okay, so
This
slavery,
is a
because
sequel to Taboo.
yeah, exactly. Um, and I'm wondering if that's what we're getting led down the rabbit hole as well on this, is this whole thing of colonialism and kind of being turned around a little bit, where China now is going to be the one that colonizes everyone and takes over everything, and that would be kind of an interesting twist on this as well.
Well, I don't want to. Well, China's making their own islands in the ocean, so I
Yeah.
mean, why not? I
Well,
don't
yeah.
know.
So is Dubai, and
Again, yeah. Well, yeah. It's more of a yeah, a corporate entity. China as a corporate entity. So, or a company. I won't say a corporation, but like I said, smarter men than me can dissect that. That is interesting. And what the hell do they want in the Congo? I think it's the fifth episode in a row. Like, what the hell do they want? I mean,
yeah,
it's gonna play into it. It's gonna be interesting. I don't know if there's any. I don't have any theories other than maybe there's either like an element there or some resources. I mean, that's again
it's where
face
Wakanda
value.
is. Wakanda's in the middle there.
Vibranium.
Vibranium.
They, yeah, or is there a Stargate? I don't know. Is there a portal? I have no freaking idea. Yeah, or is this just they just for Africa they have really good internet connection? I have no idea, but we get to the Angela part, which is I kept on waiting for her and Elliot to meet and for them to bring Elliot back. And yeah, spoilers, they didn't, and which was great. And so she has the conversation with Irving, which you've already gone over. And she's like, F it, I'm going to handle it, self. And Irving, it never even crossed Irving's mind that Angela could even do what they asked to do,
Yeah.
even though they have instructions written there. Like the little lady can't read some instructions. Come on, this is Angela. This is
She
Portia
worked a lot.
Doubleday.
Yeah. Her and
Sorry, her name is like she looks like such a
yeah, I
Portia.
know. Yeah, her and Elliot used to hack side by side, so they know the exact same things. They grew up together.
Yeah,
They know all this stuff. And so when Irving says, pick up the package that's left for you in your mailbox and give it to Elliot and let him, put the stuff in motion. And she just goes, grabs the package, opens it up, sees what's inside of it, the hard drive, the badge, and all this kind of stuff.
that comment could be taken out of context, by the way. Grabbing the
Opening for
package.
package,
Sorry.
yeah. She ends up
Sorry.
making her way to the server room where she runs into a security guard in the elevator. And he sees that she's carrying a badge that isn't hers and is a badge for a sector that she's not supposed to be in. It almost gets caught. But lucky for her, not so lucky for him, they run into some protesters that are riding through the building and he gets killed.
Yeah, so you think he's dead? That was cold blooded, but that was
We saw him on
part.
the ground. Yeah, later
Yeah,
on, he's dead.
and he was bleeding, and this was all part of the Dark Army's distraction.
Yeah,
And which Irving says later when Portia, I can say Portia, I'm going to call her Portia, and Angela says from now, Irving says basically, we can't control the explosion. We just start the distraction. What happens, happens.
yeah, we just light the fuse.
Yeah, so they and this was intense, like her walking through trying to keep from getting attacked. Like they don't know not to attack her, and this is when the scenes just get crazy. Okay, first we've been pretty much eye level following and like swooping around, and but then like we started going on above the ceiling, and that when she closed the door on that group behind her, that was such an awesome shot. I was like, damn. So I was kind of hooping and hollering through this episode. I was very enthusiastic. It might have been the caffeine. I don't know, but yeah, I laughed out loud when he said, "Oh shit, that was meant for you," and yeah, I whooped when I saw the sandwich guy, which we'll get into in a minute. But yeah, then she goes in there and then she's just badass. She puts on her little gloves, she plugs in everything to the server and does her thing and just pulls it off and gets it going again. Now, I don't know why they needed that be done. I thought so they needed to do that because they attempted stage 2, and what Elliot did actually did block them. So this was their it needs to be done by Monday
It's
thing.
their workaround.
Yeah. So this was their workaround. And because it could have not worked. Elliot was in the building or outside, and he was probably trying to get back in with the distraction. Again, there's a lot of time to be refilled here, which they can have lots of fun with in the future. And what was it, Millie? What was that girl's name? I want to say I could be getting it wrong, but the girl who went into the room with her.
Lily, I believe.
Lily, poor Lily's dead. She's going to be taken care of by the Dark Army. Yeah, and then Parsha gave she didn't have to give up her name, but
it was on her card.
She's down. Well, she didn't have to give her up though. So I mean, that shows that she gave her up, and she knows what's going to happen to her. So Angela's bought in. So I think they are. I don't think the Congo actually means that much to I will say Zhang or White Rose or both of them.
No, it's a distraction.
Yeah, he wanted this to happen anyway. And do you think it's just bringing out that we have one life? I'm keeping an eye on the chat, by the way. So do you think this is and for those of you watching, if you want to pop in any comments, go right ahead. We usually do the recap and then we read your comments afterwards, and we will read your name, respond to anything. Almost anything. So do you think they're the Dark Army is just bringing out just a giant eraser, or they're going to reset? Do you think this is like resetting reality?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think they are trying to kind of take over everything. I think what they want.
Oh, you just died out on me there. Hang on, buddy.
Oh.
There you are. You're back.
Okay. So I think China wants to take over everything, but the Dark Army, White Rose, wants to reboot everything.
Okay, so do you think it's the motivation behind the Dark Army? Do you think it's the Dark Armies?
No, it's White Rose.
It's White Rose, and White Rose has been able to manipulate the situation and get so many people, and so that's why I think they're going to bring out the reset, because like guys are willing to just pop themselves.
Yeah,
and they're pretty quick to do it. And I'm pretty sure the reason behind that, if we're going with this theory, is they can, because this isn't real anyway, or it seems inconsequential when they blow themselves, or they're really, really down with the cause.
Might be a little inconceivable.
Inconceivable, yeah. I think. I mean, they could be just really down with the cause, like I said, face value. But that's another thing. So,
what I found kind of telling is that after Angela sets up the contingency plan, and she calls up Irving, and she's using phrase words in order to say who she is. Basically, like Moxie was the one that it was done, and Irving's like, okay, great. He goes, so Irving, you met up with Elliot, and she goes, Elliot's not here. Well, who did it then? She goes, I did. Did you do everything on the card? And she's like, she pauses for a minute. He goes, Angela, it's very important. Did you do everything that was written on the card? And she's like, yes, I did. And Irving sounded kind of, confused why Elliot wasn't there, because I think that what they were doing was they were going to frame Elliot for all of this portion of it, for the blowing up of the building. And now that Angela has done it, she's the one that's going to get framed for this. This is her reward, if you will, for doing the wrong thing.
Well, yeah. When we're gonna okay, and let's get to what was in the bag. All right. So leading up to that, I also think, Bruce, before I get into that, that Elliot it could have been framing, or I think it's because Elliot has to do it. I think it's not just the program itself. I think there's a possibility that it has to be Elliot who inputs it. She could have put in the data perfectly, but it has to be him to do it. For what reason, I don't know. That's just the feeling I get. That he's the conduit. Like he's important. They've gone to extremes to protect this guy. And they know Elliot is Mr. Robot. They completely know. There's no way they couldn't know. I mean, I'm assuming, but they seem to know a lot. So I think they know.
Irving does. He knows it. So obviously, if he knows it, the Dark Army knows it.
I also think the other gist I got was, this is what I wanted to bring up earlier. When Elliot brought up Mr. Robot at will in the elevator, that I think the character of Mr. Robot could be somebody completely different. I'm sure other people have come up with that, and it could be an actual person or entity or something that's hacking into him, and he just sees it as his father. It could be. I mean, they could, like not rip a mask off, but something like that, and it could be somebody else.
So you're thinking kind of like a Ready Player One thing, where he's being taken over by, like an avatar, if you will.
Yes, he's an avatar, but he's just a human being that they can hack, or hacking the hacker. I don't know. Got a little. I want to get to this. Cy, the Olympian, who chatted with us last week. What's up? Red wheelbarrow equals red herring, in my opinion, and the question of pressing reset to me is very interesting. Doubtful that'll happen, because I imagine that while they had a win tonight, I honestly believe there's a Trojan. Yes, a play that Elliot doesn't realize he already played. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. I've kind of sensed, as much as I've gone down the rabbit hole, that I think that this entire season is kind of set up as a red herring. But Sam's email came out and said on the show that he's not going to do any. Well, he says this. He could be lying. He's not going to do anything gimmicky. He promised us that tonight, which I love. And I'd rather have him pull out something that's kind of obvious than do something
crappy
that reminds me of Lost. Yeah. So I don't think I was just a theory. I think it would actually be kind of a cop out if they just hit a reset button, because I don't think they have that much control of reality. I think it's more individual. So they can hack certain individuals. I don't think like Angela's hacked.
No, I think Angela's not.
They're life hacking her emotions. They're just playing on her mom. So she's an easy. Yeah, they don't need. She's an easy hack. So what was in the bag? So Angela finishes her mission, gives the package to our friendly guy. What kind of suit is he wearing again? You know the name of that suit.
He's wearing a Tyvek suit. Tyvek is the sort of material. It's impermeable to liquids, and basically it doesn't breathe. You put one of those things on, you're going to sweat to death inside of it. I've worn them many a time in my jobs. So yeah, he's wearing a Tyvek suit and eating a red wheelbarrow burger.
And we have to say that very slowly.
Yes,
at least I do.
I do too, because I had to think about it when I was saying it.
Say that 10 times fast.
Red wheelbarrow, red wheelbarrow. There you go. That's about as all I can do. Then my mouth just
goes. No, I agree that the red wheelbarrow equals red herring. Definitely. And I don't. That looks different from what he's been eating in the past, because it looks like before that, I mean, through the couple seasons, he was eating like a sandwich with lettuce. It looked like to me. I'm gonna have to go back and look. I haven't honestly gone back and look. I'm sure there's
eating a burger, because it had lettuce in the burger too.
Entire tumbler dedicated to sandwich eating guy. But it seems like he's midway through on the same 2 bites.
Yeah, he always takes 2 bites, and then this time he talked though.
No, he nodded. He didn't talk.
He talked.
Did he talk? What did he say?
Yes. He said, "Here you go." I
didn't even catch that. I just got a nod. Okay. Like I said, the very ending, got distracted by the not so little one, the puberty monster. And all the poor kid wanted to say was good night, Dad.
But yeah, he always takes 2 bites of whatever it is, and then he does whatever action he needs to do.
Yeah. So it'd be hilarious if he's like, he does all this stuff within like him eating a sandwich in his time, which is, I mean, that's what it looks like. So he's obviously some kind of gatekeeper, because he showed up the first time White Rose showed up, and he was at the warehouse with the building overlooking the other building where E Corp is taking all their paperwork. So yeah, it's becoming pretty clear, I think.
He's
anyway.
everywhere.
Yeah, he's everywhere, man. He's the key.
So he ends up taking the package from Angela, which had the hard drive in it and the badge and everything, and he hands her a bag of red wheelbarrow. We don't know what's in it, but he hands her a bag, and
she starts bawling. Now,
yeah,
she could be bawling from what she just went through, because it was pretty stressful.
Maybe some of the mace that was left over on that mask that she was wearing.
Yeah, or he could have given her a red wheelbarrow sandwich, which is very tasty, I hear, and she was just overcome with emotion to have a rib sandwich. Or it
was an unhappy meal.
It's an unhappy meal. It could be the evidence that she needs to get retribution for her mother.
Or maybe it's, who knows what it is.
A bottle of Vicodin, or
it's a whale.
We all did that for drugs. No, yeah, or it could be like something to access her mom. Access her mom. Maybe it's her reset button, or I don't know. I don't know what's in the bag.
He gave her the empty wrapper.
He just that would be messed up.
Or he gave her his fries. He didn't want the fries.
Yeah, well, the fries at the red wheelbarrow really aren't very good. Kind of floppy. No, no. I think whatever was in there is pertaining to her mom in some way. Now, is it being able to actually talk to her mom, or like I said, reset her reality? We don't know because they didn't tell us. But and that's where I'm lost because I got interrupted. So what happened then?
So she's going back to her office because she's actually outside of her office when she meets Sandwich Dude. And as she's walking towards to go back into her office, Elliot all of a sudden shows up and says to Angela, he says, "Angela, is there something that you want to tell me?" And that's where we end the episode. Because he knows, because Darlene has told him that Angela, that's where she saw Mr. Robot and Angela talking out in the street when they disappeared. And he remembers that he saw Tyrell, her, and him in a basement someplace writing code. He all of a sudden remembers it. Yeah.
And I just remembered something. It's either they missed in continuity, it's been more time than I think, or this Elliot doesn't get injured. What about his gunshot wound? He doesn't seem to grimace from it or anything.
Well, you gotta remember he takes a lot of drugs, so he might just
but I mean that was a gut shot, man. I mean those can kill you. Those are hardcore.
They had some good doctors in a very dirty environment.
And but again, he's on a lot of drugs anyway, so that makes it very hard to do surgery on somebody. By the way, if they have a high tolerance for pain medication, especially when they're dropping like Suboxone and stuff like that. So, just a thought. It could be a continuity error. The only thing that was bad in this, I don't know if anybody caught it. If you see it again, you're gonna realize it's bad. Is when they were out in front with Darlene and Elliot talking. There was two people behind them smoking.
Yeah,
and they're not really smoking their cigarettes. You don't see any smoke coming out.
The way she was holding it, she wasn't holding it like this. She was holding it like this.
Yeah, and she was looking at the camera too.
She was looking at the camera.
Oh, girl,
I know. I saw it too. So I was like, really? And the thing is, when she walked by at the beginning of it, because they used them twice, they were walking by, and she looks at the camera when she's walking by, and I'm like, really? You looked at the freaking camera? And then again, when she's standing behind him doing the stupid smoking, it bothered me. It bothered me a lot.
Just not smoking. It's like, oh my God, just don't have people smoking then if they're not going to really smoke, please.
Yeah.
Give them like vapes or something. I don't know.
It was the same woman though. It was the same woman twice. She did it.
I didn't see. Yes, it was. Okay. Also another thing I missed last week was I thought it was really cute was Darlene and Elliot's death pact that they had.
Yeah, the vengeance. Would you get vengeance for me if the Dark Army kill me?
Dennis, I promise I will
sure.
call the authorities if anybody kills
you. Well, thanks. I can't promise the same for you.
I will help that person hide. I will call the authorities. No, just kidding. Love you, man. So, yeah. Well, now you can see why one of my sisters would turn me into the FBI at the drop of a hat. Actually, she would make shit up. Turn me in.
She'd plant evidence.
Yeah, she'd plan it. Look, there's cocaine in his car. How did that get there? Okay.
There's the marijuana everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. I didn't see scenes for next episode.
I did.
Okay.
It continues with Elliot, confronting Angela. And then also we get what looks like Elliot in the underground tunnels of whatever the building is that the Dark Army is trying to blow up, getting ready to pass out from a lot of hydrogen fumes. So I don't know if he goes to the actual building trying to stop it.
Oh, so he didn't. So I was just kind of, I've been under the assumption this whole time that like the Dark Army is just going to pull this off. That's the one thing I'm like not worried about. Like this building's going to blow up.
Angela says to him in the trailer that they had for next week's episode, she goes, "You just need to let this day happen." Yeah. Is what she tells Elliot.
Yeah. Let's get to our chat again. Yes. Vasil G says, "Love this show." Yes, Mr. Robot is a great show. I hope you're talking about our show, but I'm sure you're talking about Mr. Robot. It is a great show. When a show maintains a level of, I will say, greatness through halfway through season 3 now, it's actually getting better. I mean, this show's it is getting better as it goes on. Like this is like verging on like probably going to be classic show. I think we're watching very special here. You get like once, this is like a Battlestar Galactica. It's, it's kind of a phenomenon like show. I think a lot of people, not a ton of it doesn't have the mass appeal that I would hope it have, but I think people are going to start catching on this season, especially people talking about the show on Twitter tonight. I think people are going to catch on. Actually with Game of Thrones and Walking Dead, it took, like season 3 and 4 to hit stratosphere. Even with Buffy, it was like season 4 that put it through the stratosphere.
X-Files season 3.
X-Files season 3. Side the Olympian. What's in the bag? I think it was meant for Elliot. Irving's package was meant to be used by Elliot to begin with. So the delivery guy had something for him as opposed to her. Agreed. You're right. I didn't bring that up, but you're right.
Yeah, I didn't think about that either.
What's in the bag? What's in the bag? What's in the box? I think that Zhang moving up the timetable to stage 2 might have been a chess move that'll cost him by the end of the season. Yep, it was an emotional decision. And he has not been emotional up until that point. But what's our CEO from E Corp again?
Price.
Price actually rushed him on this one, and Price is kind of badass. Like he's not backing down. He's not like previous E Corp CEOs. He's not going to back down from Zhang because he is a megalomaniac. I'm not going to call Zhang a megalomaniac. I mean, again, on the surface level, he looks like he is, but I think there's more to it than that. And Price is just psychotic.
Zhang is a Bond villain. I like it.
Yeah, but a really good one.
Yeah, he's a really good Bond villain.
Like a good Bond villain's one you kind of like. You're like, I'm going to be really sorry when James Bond kills you.
When he says, that whole thing in the last episode where he goes, you know what? Trump's the one we want to run for president. Why? Because.
Because. Well, I thought that was a funny way to deal with it too, but it also plays into the show. And again, I'll refer to the after show tonight. I watched like 10 minutes of Sam Esmail, and I liked everything I heard from him. I usually don't like to go to that stuff because we like to form our own opinions. But what he said, if you guys haven't watched it, was basically, I'm not going to run any gimmicks on you guys. And we don't want to get, even though this is a grounded show that takes place in a certain time, he's not going to be politics du jour. It's not going to be like a politics of the day. He's not going to do anything that's going to date it to now. You know what I mean? He's going to stay consistent to where he was. He's got a plan. He's got an ending for the show, thank God. And he's going to stick with it and not get down with the minutia of like just, you know, being trendy, basically like throwing up. Because that you know, God, that's my biggest complaint about comic books right now and a lot of stuff. When you do stuff like that, I know a lot of people have urge to get political in their art, and that's cool, but it also dates the hell out of it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It looks just bad. It just doesn't age well, no matter what side you're on in 5 or 10 years, and it takes you out of it. This show very cleverly found a way around that, because they could. It was probably easy to bite on that, and they refused it, which was good. I think that was very good. It helped us stay in 2015 and not break the narrative.
I want them to use more catchphrases like "Where's the beef?" Because you know that.
Yeah, you know. Well, if you're gonna do it, stick with it. You know, that is a damn good catchphrase. Okay. Yeah. So next week, I can't, dude. I want to see next week episode right now. Yeah. And I'm actually going to go back and rewatch this episode. I usually don't. I usually like sit a day and I rewatch them. But I'm gonna. In this one, we're gonna cut a little video real quick, which will be up. I want to kind of plug it. A good friend of mine. It's weird. It's surreal when a friend of yours like gets a TV show, and he sends you a text going, "Dude, yeah, I got a TV show based on something I created." So, The Boys got picked up by Amazon for an 8-episode run, and I'm good friends with one of the creators of that book, and
you're actually in that book.
I'm actually in the comic later on issues. And I've been watching him go through this journey, the ups and downs and everything. And it was just like so freaking stoked for him. He's so happy. He's got 2 kids, a wife. He's been a comic artist for 20 some years. He's worked on some of the greatest comics ever. And I was a fan of the Transmetropolitan before I knew he was on it. So, yeah, his name is Derek Robertson. I'm sure some of you have heard of him out there. So we're going to do a quick video just congratulating him. You know, it's nice when good things happen to good people. Sometimes it does happen. So we'll end this video. You can find all of our podcasts and videos at nerdrotic.com. We'd also like you to please subscribe to this channel. Because we know your time is valuable, and we would like some of it.
There's a little bell right up here. Just go ahead and ding, hit it.
Yeah,
ding,
hit that bell so you get notifications. We do not flood you with videos. We have day jobs. We do 3-4 a week. But if you'd like more content, let us know. We also have a Patreon. It's a tip jar. If you like what we do right now, where there's no level set up, just give $1 if you want. If you're not, that's totally cool too. Rather have you subscribe. And we are doing 2 other shows right now. One's ending, and we might start another one. So we're doing The Gifted. If you're in if you're into YA TV, which is on Monday night, and we do live recaps right after the show airs, either on usually it's the East Coast feed, and that's 15 minutes, and we're always live. But it also turns into a regular video. So remember, if you guys want something to be said, copy and paste your chat here and go ahead and throw it in the comments, because it doesn't carry over. It's a big criticism. And before I finish, let me Cy the Olympian has one more. Do you guys believe that annexing the Congo is a response to the potential loss of the Washington Township facility? I believe it's all a question of space. Important to White Rose. Time and space being important to White Rose. That could be definitely.
Interesting.
That is, yeah. No, oh, man. You're awesome. Thanks for commenting on. You really helped for the show. Believe me, yeah. I love it. So back to winding this thing up. So yeah, nerdrotic.com, and yeah, follow us on Facebook and stuff. And all of our links will be in the description once this turns over into a video. Dennis, any final words on Mr. Robot?
Watch it. I mean, it's a good show. I mean, it's one of the few shows I don't bitch about. Yes, I know there's.
Yeah, that's for sure. Hey, you know, me and John are just, well, I don't know. John's is as particular as you. It's just about other stuff. I'm the easiest one to please. I like almost everything. So, except for certain episodes of Star Trek Discovery, which I didn't finish. We're also covering Star Trek Discovery. I know. I've got ADHD. Sorry. Untreated. So Star Trek Discovery we cover. The Gifted, and we are going to finish up the Orville, the last couple episodes of the Orville. We also do a regular podcast. Please check it out. Yeah. So, Dennis, take us out.
Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, America.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks. Good night.
Thanks, Cy. Good night.
Thanks, Cy. And everyone else.
The video. Awkward moment where I'm turning off our video now. Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for commenting.
Yes.